In this video, I'll show you how to create a standard nut. First thing you want to do is get your dimensions. So I just went on Google and I typed in, I needed a 3/8/16 nut. I typed in dimensions for 3/8/16 nut and I found this site. It's got a diagram here and here's a table. You just would look up, for example, 3/8/16. Tells you how big the nut is, the width across the flats. It tells you the thickness of the nut, and if you have a jam nut, it tells you the thickness there. So with that information, then you can easily construct that shape. That's not that challenging. I'll just run through it quickly. Start a sketch. Now I want to start, again, it's a hex nut, so I'll use that hex shape. And you want to control the orientation because that's going to affect how your views look if you want to make a drawing of this. So I always purposely don't put it in the right orientation, and I add a relation so to that line, make it horizontal. That way you know it's locked in. If you try to fake it, sometimes you're fooling yourself in your dimensions. And it's often then when you try to project views, you have some kind of a funky angled view. According to that chart, this was 0.61, and that's all I need for now. I extrude that. And the height of the nut, and they'll usually give you a max and a min. I'm going to use that 1/4 inch dimension. And then we want to put the threaded hole in it. So you can use your hole wizard. Now pay attention to your settings here. Yes, I want to do a threaded hole, which is right there. But make sure it's set for ANSI inch. If you're doing inch, if it's metric, set it for metric. Not a pipe tap. A bottoming would be a hole that doesn't go all the way through. It's just going to be a tapped hole. It's a 3/8/16, but if it wasn't, then you can choose the size. It's going to go through all. And now sometimes this is a problem, this countersink thing. Sometimes it puts a really big clunky countersink on there. Let's see what it does. We can always change that. Oops, okay. So get this guy back over here. So now that we have the settings, let's go to position and just click on the face here and then click it on the center. That should be all you need to do. And there's my nut. So now it does have that countersink. If you don't want that, we can get rid of it. The dashed line is representing the threads, and that's fine. Internal threads do, it takes up a lot of memory on your machine. If you have a whole bunch of bolts and nuts, it will really slow down your computer if you're not careful. If we go in there to edit that, I can turn off that countersink if I want, or I could make it be on both sides, right? Maybe what I'll do is put the countersinks on there, but just make them smaller, right? That's way too big. I wonder if that's 0.01. Yeah, that doesn't work at all. Okay, let's just leave them off of there. I'm sure I can fiddle around with that, get it to look better, but don't really need it. So there's a basic nut. Now, usually the nut will have some rounded corners or something. If you want to just clean it up, you could just put a chamfer on these. You're going to have to make it a small chamfer though. It'll make your nut disappear. It's just for appearance sake. Just do it some things. Oh, that's actually probably, that might work. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, that's perfect. I could do the same on the other side. Again, just for appearance sake. The reality is it's not that often you're going to be drawing a picture of a nut. It's kind of a standard part. But there we go. That represents the nut. Let's save that. And I'm going to put it on the drawing sheet. Now it's going to be lost on this sheet. Typically with something like this, I'd put it on a sheet with other pieces, not just some big drawing of a giant nut, but whatever for now, it's okay. Let's see, I'm going to want to show my hidden lines on those, on the orthos, but not on the ISO. This note will pop up. Don't leave that on there. That's a stupid looking note. Don't put 3/8/16 tapped hole. Remember, one of the things we're trying to do is get rid of words on our drawings. We want to make these universal drawings. A much better note is 3/8/16 UNC. So don't leave it just saying tapped hole, right? So you'd put your dimensions for your flats across the flats. And you'd put for the width of the nut. And if you wanted to put that chamfer note, again, that's more trouble than it's worth, but that's okay. Remember, click on the angled surface and click on either vertical or horizontal. That'll give you your chamfer note. And I really should put some center lines on this. I noticed that before. It doesn't like to put those on there, but you can use this auto insert thing. It usually will override that. Okay, so that's how to create the nut and how to put it on a drawing sheet.